many pounds?
I have no idea what he gave us.
You guys, the only shitty thing about this setup is where do we reach our fingers in to hold the nut? Like there's no in up here. See how it's open? Oh, maybe that's just the way they're drawing
I
it.
don't think there's a way to...
Here's this little finger hole right here. I don't know. It might be threaded.
I mean, the replacement bolts are threaded.
Oh, these are threaded?
Yeah.
Yeah, they're all threaded. I think this is it.
Will you have a wrench? That's what we want.
But it's going to be not... The head is not big enough for this.
The head is not big enough to hold that on?
No.
There we go. Wait, there's just so much
Dirt built up. Here, I can try to hold it. You might need a rat or a little guy.
Come on, little paws of strength. Paws of fury!
In terms of weight, what do you... I think this one's a little bit lighter.
Ouch. I don't know. Yeah, I think this one's a little lighter. I have no idea what's on that, so I'm sorry about that. I've washed it, but it's not really
Mystery goop.
So what do you guys think if we keep all of our like extra tough, well not extra toughs, but all of our like Grendons and stuff for fishing boat stuff in this one?
Yep.
Okay.
Tell me if you think the engine is dying. Off the weight. Great.
My seatbelt's sort of a strangler.
But I am comfortable. All right, look at us.
Oh shit, I took the wrong turn.
They know you're gonna feel so obligated to stop. That's right. We just flew into Telegraph Creek. We need a ride. It's not slowing down.
Oh no.
There's no slowing down. Are you kidding me? Well, that's the only
Alright, let's see these computers.
As commodity prices boom around the world, Canada's mining industry is booming too.
Canada is far and away the biggest mining country in the world.
Because gold is so valuable, the extraction of just a few thousand ounces a day pays for this extraordinary mining operation.
It's been described as the worst environmental disaster on Canada's west coast in living memory. 10 million cubic meters of mining wastewater have been hemorrhaging into the caribou ecosystem for 9 days.
My name is Jacinda Mackin. I'm from the community of Chetzuls of the Secwepemc Nation. Mount Poly Mine is in our backyard in Secwepemc territory. Mine is owned by Imperial Metals, which is based out of Vancouver, BC, and Vancouver in British Columbia is the mining capital of the world. This is based on weak environmental regulation and monitoring, lots of tax breaks, and mining legislation that goes back to the first days of the gold rush. I was traveling out of town when the disaster happened, and I actually heard about it on Facebook. My mom had said that she had received a message and that there was a problem at Mount Poly Mine and that there was a problem with the dam. My immediate reaction was that I was almost physically sick because I knew how devastating it was going to be for the land, for the water, for our communities. I didn't know what I was supposed to do. It released all of those tailings into the natural ecosystem. It was loose in the world. It's loose in the watershed. It's not contained. You know, the bulk of those tailings still lie at the bottom of those fish-bearing lakes on the sides of Hazeltine Creek, and there's no plan for cleanup. Less than a year after the disaster happened, the mine was permitted to go back into operations with the rationale that they needed to make money to continue cleaning up the disaster. When I was quite young, I remember coming down to the river with my parents and my younger brother, and it was a really exciting time to be down at the river during fishing season. Everybody was there. It was a really, the whole river would be alive. It wasn't quiet. There was people everywhere. There were campfires. You know, everybody was visiting and fishing, and it was exciting. Every time there was a salmon pulled from the river, it was like a celebration. It was just such a family affair. I remember dropping off fish at relatives' homes in the middle of the night, and they would have all of their tubs and water ready. And you know, in the morning we would be cutting salmon and putting the salmon eggs, the sockeye eggs, into a pot and cooking it up for breakfast while we were cutting salmon. People were really happy and busy in the community. Smokehouses were going, and you know, that was the way of life in the summertime. You know, I tried to take my son out when he was 16 to have this big fishing adventure, this rite of passage. And we came down to the river and there was nothing. There was no fish, no people, just this sadness. And from my life to his, it was just gone. He'll never know what that feels like. His kids will never know. That's the legacy of this disaster. That's his inheritance. And that's a reality for us.
I'm Rhoda Kwok.
I'm Caden Kessler.
Caden is my youngest son. We live in Iskut. We've been living in Iskut all of our lives. Right now we're sitting at Clapan Turnoff, where the first blockade was initiated in 2005. Right now, where our community is, it's like we're right in the middle. We're right in the middle now, and it's like it's picking up again. We have all this mining going on. We have Red Chris who's in operation. You know that it's not that I don't agree with mining. I know people need the jobs. But there is some places that should be left untouched, like Clapan. I think one thing we always talk about is a boom and bust. What's going to happen? What's going to be left for our kids? You know, there's going to be nothing. Like, even now, it's like scary. We still get our food off the land. Our moose, our fish. That's all contaminated. What do we have? Who are we?
Hi, I'm Eric Grunberg, and this is Melina Marvin.
My name's Melina Marvin. I am Eric's better half, and we operate a direct market seafood business, Schoolhouse Fish Company, here in Petersburg, Alaska.
I catch the fish and Melina sells them. We make a good team.
Every once in a while, Eric sells a fish and I catch one.
Yeah, there you go.
This is the third year of building our business, and things are going really well with our business. You know, we are expanding out and getting to the point where we're selling ourselves a lot of the fish that we catch, which was our goal, and it's working and it's great and it's supporting us. And then I had this thought of like, I can't depend on this being here anymore, right? Like, if something goes wrong with the mines, if and when something goes wrong with the mines, that's the end of our business. You know, we put so much energy into building it and creating a name for ourselves, and I don't really know what we would do, you know, but we would have to do something else. And that it's just a sad thought when people have been able to make fishing work here generation after generation after generation. And here we are establishing ourselves, hoping to build up something that will be part of our lives our whole lives. And we can no longer depend on that.
You need habitat for fisheries, and mines denigrate habitat. And we made choices as a culture on the East Coast, on the West Coast, is like, do we pick salmon over development? Do we pick concrete over salmon? And again, we've chosen development over habitat. And Southeast is one of the last strongholds of places in the world, actually, where there is good salmon habitat.
And I think both in Southeast Alaska, all of Alaska, and in Northwest BC, it's like this frontier mentality, right? I mean, the frontier as a limit of American culture as like crept west and crept west and crept west until it hit the West Coast and went up. And we're still on the frontier. And that's people on the frontier have a different relationship with the earth and natural resources than people who've learned to live sustainably where they're at over time. We're still on the edge of a cultural machine that just sucks and sucks and sucks and leaves behind, you know, a dysfunctional ecosystem. You don't see people like raging in the streets about transboundary mines. It's because we're fairly complacent, because it's that same frontier mentality where there's just so much, how could we ever lose it all? There's so many salmon, a couple mines can't hurt that. But we do have like a cultural record over and over and over again of making that same mistake.